Hey guys, it's Derek again. And as promised, we're going to review suppliers and products. Now, suppliers are the backbone of your business because without them, you have no products. And with no products, you have nothing to dropship. And if you don't have anything to dropship, you have no business. So, hence, they are probably one of the biggest requirements to having any dropshipping business. Now, finding good suppliers is difficult. There's a lot that goes into it. Um, you have to be very careful of scams. And sadly, in this world, people do that. And it's not like it's, going to be once in a while. You have to be diligent about that with every supplier. In fact, I always recommend doing a test order with any new supplier and looking to wait see if they give you a tracking number, if what their invoice looks like, if there are updates. You want to see, who you're paying. Usually, if it's something like PayPal, they'll give you some kind of receipt and tell you who you paid to. You want to look at these things and pay attention to them. And finding suppliers is difficult. If you're using a search engine, you have to go at least 3 or 4 pages deep. The first pages will be all sponsored or drop shipping platforms or platforms that you pay a rate to have access to their suppliers. So they're more business oriented, and they're not going to, in terms of, you're going to pay money. It's going to cost you some money that you may not want to spend. And the supplier databases are the same way on that. So sometimes they'll charge you a couple hundred, a month, and the benefit to that is you get access to a ton of suppliers, right? But $400 a month, that's a lot of money. I mean, and you might not have that coming in yet, maybe down the road, but right away, probably not. So that is, finding suppliers is a very difficult and challenging thing to do. And once you find a supplier, you have to worry about what their fees and requirements are. Honestly, there were many suppliers that strictly sell from business to business. Then they don't have any customer facing storefronts. They're going to require business documents. They're going to require you to be licensed in the state, have reseller's license, tax ID, the whole 9 yards. This is something that will have to take place, and they will request that information. There's no way to fake that. Yeah, they can check that against databases very easily. So if you're not registered as your own business with all of the licensing necessary, you're going to miss out on some of the suppliers. And getting all of that licensing is expensive. Some suppliers require a minimum sales. There was one supplier that I personally was working with, and they wanted $50,000 per year of sales before they'll even consider working with you. So if you're a new business, you're obviously not going to have made $50,000 in sales yet because you just started, right? So you'll need to take a look at that and factor that into, is this supplier a good fit for me? Am I able to use them? Will they be a good fit for me in the future? Because maybe you can revisit them. And that is something also to keep in mind. Now, a lot of suppliers have monthly fees, and that can range. It can be $20 a month, 30, 50. It could go up to over 100. Sometimes they only do it annually. Some suppliers, I had one, they wanted 1,200 per year. But if you really think about that, that's $100 a month. But you have it for a full year. No matter what, you've prepaid them that year. Now, what does this do to you? Well, think about it this way. Let's just say, after all, that supplier is maybe not coming through for you, or maybe your customers have soured on their products, they're not selling well. You're not going to continue to do business with somebody who's not providing you any value, right? So what you've done at that point is if you terminate your relationship after 3 months, instead of that supplier costing you $100 a month, it's now costed you $400 a month because you prepaid that year. So you really want to be careful about this, because this can sometimes be a bit scammy. Sometimes these suppliers know, they're like, hey, we can make more money on the upfront because maybe this person isn't going to be serious enough to make us money in the long term. And this is something that they can offset their prices with. Um, it's something that I personally would avoid until you're sure that the products that they would be carrying, or similar products, are selling well on your store. And if that's the case and you become established and you have an established customer base, this would be perfect kind of situation to look into at that point. Lastly, you want to be careful on the MAP pricing. Now, MAP pricing is essentially the lowest minimum price that you can sell that item at. Um, and they set these prices according to various different criteria, depends on the supplier themselves. But if you violate this pricing, they will terminate their relationship with you. So it's something you want to factor in. Supplier communication, dealing with their orders, and then the inventory maintenance, it's time consuming. It's very time consuming. And especially since sometimes you're on hold or you have to wait for email correspondence. Um, Maybe the supplier has played hardball with you, whatever the case could be, right? Um, that that's that's stressful, and it's, again, time consuming, like I said. So when you're talking to them, it could be over an order issue. It could be changes in their program. Maybe they're changing what they're charging you overall. All of those things you need to be able to communicate with the supplier on. Um, because if you can't communicate with them and things are going wrong, it's going to end badly for you, or it's going to end badly for the supplier because you're going to stop using them. Now, that brings us to the orders. Having a supplier that accurately fills their orders and does so in a timely manner with quality products is huge, because obviously delays in today's world, it's never good. I mean, we're pretty impatient, especially now that when we're ordering online, we're waiting for something and we want it to be here fast. So if you have a supplier that's constantly taking 10 to 15 days to get a product to your customer is going to stop buying from you because they don't want to wait that long. Half a month, that's insane. So that's not a good supplier to have. And you know, that can happen a lot with, because certain suppliers will be you know, based in areas that take a while to ship from. So you want to really look at that kind of thing. Inventory maintenance, this is a daily problem, um, or task. It depends on your time and how much time you have to deal with it, whether it's a problem or a task, really. Um, because you need to make sure that you have the correct inventory availability in your system. You need to make sure that when you tell a customer that we have one or two, they have one or two available, that you have one or two available. Otherwise, you deal with customer issues where suddenly they're saying, hey, where's my product? And you have to tell them that it's out of stock and then issue refunds. And it creates a bad experience for you. And likewise with the price changing, one, that could affect the map pricing, but two, to be honestly on a more important note here, if you're selling at the wrong price point, you could be disadvantaged in two ways. You could be selling it too low or too high. Um, it's not good to lower your prices to undercut the competition. That's just hurting yourself. If they change their price and it goes from, from a $50 item to a $70 item, you need to change things appropriately so that your profit margin does not get, you know, just slashed that badly to where you're actually losing money when every time that product sells. So these are things you always want to keep track of. Now, the good news is Shop One handles this for you. I mean, we find the suppliers, we're paying the fees, we take care of the shipping. A lot of times the suppliers will charge you for that shipping. So it's not something that you can just, you know, they're not going to cover it. You can't ask them to cover it unless you're a massive business to where you're giving them so much business that them not charging you for the shipping actually makes sense. Um, so you're going to pick up that cost. The suppliers won't. So Shop One actually handles this for you. We pay the shipping on the item. So that's something you don't have to worry about. We're also going to daily check our inventory levels. Our suppliers update us, on a pretty constant basis. And as soon as they update us, we're updating our inventory as well. And we also handle any supplier issues that may come from just the general situations in life and in business. So if you're having a problem and you're having customer complaints, or they'll come to our customer service. But if you're one of the people and part of your advertising, you're always reaching out and you're engaging with them, and your customers start telling you they're having issues with certain products, and you're going to come to us and be like, hey, what's going on? And we're going to handle that. We're going to reach out to the supplier. We're going to see what's going on. We're going to see if it's something that we need to do differently or something they need to do differently, or whether we just need to stop associating with them because they're unreliable. We don't want you to have issues with your customers because the suppliers are no good. So we do take this very seriously to making sure we're providing you with the best options available. Now, this is something that you should keep in mind on any business, but just know that we're here for you on this front. We'll take care of it. If you have issues, let us know. If you let us know, we'll look into it immediately. We have constant communication whenever necessary with our suppliers. Guys, I hope you had a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.